let's jump to The Bodyguard. It's insane to me that Rob Stark, out of nowhere,
Mhm.
has this show that is the second most watched show in the UK behind the freaking World Cup, where England made it into the Final Four for like the first time in like a long, long time, like what, over 20 years or something like that. And this is what people are talking about, that Rob Stark is now going to be James Bond potentially off this role. It's bananas, dog. Bananas. We watched the whole series. I binged it last week. I really liked it. But there's lots to kind of talk about here because I think there's some parts about this that could have been changed. I want to, before we jump too far in though, what was your impression of the show, and what do you think about Richard Madden as potentially the next Bond?
Yeah, I want to get to Bond. Let's save that.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of the ratings, like just to bring that home for a second, it's the highest rated new drama in England in 10 years. And that was since Downton Abbey.
Out in Abbey, yeah.
It was almost as watched as Meghan Markle and Harry's wedding. Like this shit was fucking insane. I think the finale got 17 million viewers. Like it's ridiculous. It would, and it's a great win for linear television and traditional cable and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's also cool that we got this so soon because this started airing at the end of August over in the UK, and then Netflix quickly picked up the international distribution, and we got it end of October. So that's quite the turnaround. It didn't used to be like that. I mean, you remember how like Black Mirror, the first few series when it was just an English show, not with Netflix. Like it took a while for Netflix to even pick up those rights to show it to us before they became a Netflix show, right? So
Yeah.
that's one of the perks of English television becoming closer to Hollywood now, is we get to see these good shows sooner and keep that conversation going. I think it's good for the showrunners as well. But yeah, I dug the show. I thought it was actually incredibly watchable, incredibly bingeable, and really engaging. But yeah, Richard Madden, great win for him because he's kind of been trying to find that next role post Thrones. But I think
Yeah.
he definitely is going to have a lot of opportunities now, given the eyeballs on this.
Yeah, so there were a couple things about the show. I mean, so it starts off with that scene on the train with the suicide bomber, and it really pulls you in from there, like immediately. Your heart rate's up. It's tense, and they do that a couple times throughout the show, which I think he plays that really well. That like, I'm terrified, but I'm also the person in the situation who can figure this out, so I need to like keep a level head. Um, you know, and I thought that was probably the parts I liked the most. I thought the relationship with what was she, the house secretary or home secretary? So
like the Secretary of State in England, I think.
yeah, I thought that those scenes were also really compelling, and their chemistry I thought really came through. The things I didn't like is this is a 6-episode series, 6.5 hours, and I feel like they covered so much plot in that time. It was almost like too much. I felt a little bit confused, and like, how did we get from here to here in 6.5 hours? It felt just like we covered a lot of ground, especially in like the last 2 episodes after the, this is the spoilers at this point now, but after there's the bomb that goes off and kills the home secretary, I feel like all of a sudden there are characters I had no idea about who are being introduced and are playing this major role in the plot moving forward. So that would be my biggest gripe about it. Also, I mean, Richard Madden I thought was great in this role. I didn't think he was like perfect. I thought that there were some things to be desired. I think especially like sometimes I don't necessarily think I believed his like sadder moments. I think like almost to a point it felt like when he was with his wife, I felt like that was real, but like some of the stuff with like his friends or his old army buddies and like his emotional reactions there, I was kind of like, did that really fit for what's going on? Maybe I didn't totally understand that part of the story. But overall, really a great watch. I'm glad Netflix got it so soon. Was there anything that you didn't like about this series?
Yeah, no, I think to those points, I mean, I think once Julia Montague, the House Secretary, once she dies, the dynamic of the show obviously changes because they were
Yeah.
like he was like his foil for the David's foil for the first half of the show, right? And then I think
Hmm.
she also helped kind of like ground the plot because, as you said, we get a lot of plot in this, and I actually really respect the show for not like wasting time with exposition. I think
Definitely.
the location shooting combined with the just like not holding your hand really helps the show feel like real. But once Julia's gone, the show gets a little more frenetic, and there is
Hmm.
again these other characters who we totally didn't quite understand their roles, especially for American viewers. We don't quite understand the way like the security people and the police people are different. Like that stuff. Like I guess that was what like was it like FBI and CIA difference? It's kind of unclear, right? So like
Hmm.
the way that the various parts of their government is a little unclear for us foreign viewers, but I wouldn't say that's much of a negative. It's just just a choice they made. Also, to that, you mentioned Richard's Madden's, the quieter moments. I think the show consciously did not choose to explore uh, his thoughts and feelings. I mean, they set up early on that he's at odds with Julia in terms of politics, right? He has
Right.
resentment for her for sending him to Afghanistan as he has
Hmm.
PTSD, he's a war veteran, right? But we never really get that. And that was a really cool setup where he's working for someone he fundamentally disagrees with. You already have the flipped power dynamic of a woman and a man, right? And they just don't really explore that. And like, yes, he has like they start like using his PTSD against him as the show progresses, but we never really get like that conversation. We don't really know what he believes or feels. We just kind of realize that he's out there to uncover the truth and then clear his name, doing both together. So that was a choice they made. Um, I think Jed Mercurio, the showrunner and the writer of the show,
Hmm.
um, he is going to meet with Madden, I think, in a few weeks to discuss a season 2 if they do one. I mean, it's so successful, they'll probably do one, right? So I think, and he's also been very active on Twitter in terms of talking about the show. So I think he's going to see these criticisms and probably take them to heart. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, those are choices they made. I don't think they ultimately negate the show, but they're worth pointing out just because things could perhaps have been done differently. I think for a 6-hour show, it kind of reminded me a lot of Collateral, a show we talked about earlier in the
Hmm.
year. Carey Mulligan, another BBC show, and also, I mean, I think it's kind of obvious, but it's a lot like the beginning of Homeland with Damian Lewis's character,
Yeah.
and in a good way.
Mhm.
And I think just shows it's got really cool set visuals for a place that isn't just London, but I think it's shot cool. And you have these set pieces, the sniper attack, the first 20 minutes of the show, obviously the
Mhm.
big stuff in the finale, that interrogation scene, episode 4. There's just really good moments like that that really keep people engaged. But overall, it moves at such a pace that I think it's tough to look away. So I was really pleased with it and was a big fan. So I actually would welcome another season. What about
Oh
you?
yeah, I definitely seen a second season. I thought, there was like a pseudo twist at the end, which I thought was pretty good with the person he saved or the suicide bomber at the beginning, kind of being
Now,
the one who sells out the plot to kill the secretary there, and just like the whole like he like underestimated her and thought and it came back to like haunt him. I thought was really well done. So I would definitely love to see second season of this show. Let's talk about Bond real quick. Richard Madden for Bond. Yay or nay?
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, like, again, I keep looking at the betting odds. I keep looking at the list, and it's like, in terms of like star power, I actually think he's kind of like the perfect pick because he's not total unknown. People recognize him, but they don't
Mhm.
really like. He's below Tom Hardy and Tom Hiddleston, but he's not totally unknown. So in that sense, I think he's like the right profile for the role. And I
Mhm.
think, I mean, between Rob and this role in particular, I think he could do it, especially if it was a more of a Daniel Craig-esque one where we kind of get more of like a damage Bond, you know.
Mhm.
But maybe he's not the best pick if you're trying to do like, I don't know,
Suave.
debonair suave Bond,
Yeah.
But I mean, who would I want instead? Let's keep like who are our options? Obviously we want Idris Elba. It doesn't sound like that's happening.
Mhm.
Aiden Turner, I like Aiden Turner. Doesn't sound like he's famous enough. Um, it's not gonna be Hilson. It's not gonna be Hardy. Like, and then I think those the other guys got passed over. Was he Jack Rayner? it's going to be Jack Houston. Like, no, I don't think so. So like,
Yeah.
I think he's a decent pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think I still would love to see Elba. Yeah, I guess I'm not really sure who would be a better pick for that right now. I almost want them to nail down a director first, have them write the scripts, and then go after an actor that fits that Bond rather than the other way around, getting the Bond first and writing around him.
Right.
Have a good story to tell with Bond, and then get the
Well,
actor that's going to fit for that.
and the thing is, this whole conversation is so premature because Bond 25 still untitled. Remember, they fired Danny Boyle, and then
Mm-hmm.
that announcement came from Eon, the Bond, the MGM, the Bond people, and Daniel Craig. Like, Craig is part of this. He's very
Right.
heavy-handed in his final Bond movie, right? So they got that locked down. They only pushed it back a few weeks, but that's not coming out till early 2020. So
Mm-hmm.
unless they commission people to work on the next Bond movie while they're still in production for the last Craig one, like, how many movies, how many shows is Richard Madden going to do before he's actually signed on?
Right.
It's so premature. But it's fun to
Yeah.
talk about, especially when there's nothing else to talk about in the British news. So